do it. God, this is not who you created me to be. Father, I thank you so much for your love, God. I thank you so much for the value that I have in your eyes. God, you are amazing. You gave up everything to get me back. Father, I thank you. I choose to learn from you, God. I'm going to open up your word. I'm not going to shy away from it. God, I'm asking you to cut me deep and shine your spotlight in my heart, God. And anything that needs to be removed, God, I give you permission to remove it. But God, please don't remove it without the grace to put truth in there. And God will say, all right. Boom. And he'll do it. Then all of a sudden, sorry, I don't want you, some of you were falling asleep. So what he does is he puts truth inside of your soul, and you start to think from heaven towards earth. You start to think as a man of God, as a woman of God, as a child of God. So, under the law, you have 613 laws and 10 commandments. James 2:10 says if you transgress one, you've missed them all. So that means that no matter how good you think you are, this also goes along the lines of there are people that, like I was a drug addict for 22 years. I was twisted and whacked and hurt a lot of people, lots of people. Extradited across America, kicked out of the Marine Corps, in and out of prison my whole life, grew up in the Masonic homes, raised by Masons, like all of it, just junk, my whole life. Was with my girlfriend for 9 years, threatened to kill her if she ever left me. Was suicidal, had a daughter of 7.5 years old when we were together. At the end of those 9 years, I had no God in my life, no Christians in my family. Not one person told me about Jesus for 34 years, man. Not anywhere, anyhow, no one mentioned the name of Jesus. For 34 years, ever. I destroyed my daughter's life. All she heard was, I hate your father, he's a loser, he's a liar, all that stuff. It was just a tragic mess. I destroyed her family, my girlfriend's family. I destroyed my family. I stole from everybody. Stole from my kid, savings, bonds, whatever I could get my hands on. Pawned our stuff. Stole from everything, and my girlfriend was trapped. Then one night I go home. She's gone. I go to her stepdad's to get a rifle. I'm going to shoot myself, man. Done with my life. Thought about suicide every day. Depressed my whole life on depression medications, on all kinds of stuff to try to get this thing to be steadfast. There was nothing that would work. Depression medication only masks it. It takes a few weeks to build up, then it masks it, but when you go off, all hell breaks loose up here. I had demonic terrors and nightmares my whole life, sleeping disorders, all of it. I couldn't read. I had reading disorder, couldn't do it, just couldn't comprehend anything, man. And I didn't care to comprehend anything. My whole life is a tragic mess. That night I drive to a church. In the morning I meet somebody at the church, Dan Moeller, that I just told him I need to talk to somebody. I unloaded on this guy. He just loved me. Told me, since you don't want your life, why don't you give it away? I'm like, who would want this life? He told me Jesus. I'm like, I didn't come here to hear about Jesus. He's like, it's a church. But in my life, I had no grid for Jesus being at a church. I thought only hypocrites were at the church. I did. I didn't grow up in church, dude. I had no clue. I went and I was like, whatever, dude. It's like, you need to give your life to Jesus. Whatever. If he wants, he can have it. There, I did it. That's my prayer. That's not good. But a seat went in there. I went home, called my daughter, told her to tell mommy that daddy found God. My daughter said, what's he like, Dad? I said, I don't know, but I met somebody that does. I was talking about Dan because I could see it in his eyes. It was real. It was legit. But I didn't know how to get it. The first night, I put my daughter to bed. Sorry. Everything's going to change, honey. First night, on a binge. Second night, on a binge. Third night, on a binge. Crack binges, cocaine binges for 5.5 months, as twisted as it could ever be. Now I was like, it was horrible because I didn't want to do it, but I was doing it, and it was wicked. And I never opened the Bible because I couldn't read, and I had no idea. Dan just kept telling me, you need to understand that you're right with God, Todd. He kept pouring truth into me, but I couldn't read, I couldn't understand, and I didn't care to, because when I read it, I would get one couple words in and forget everything I read anyway. So why do? I was listening to you. I was listening to you. That's not how relationship works. You just don't listen to somebody else. I had no idea. And 5.5 months later, I go out in a binge, pick up a drug dealer from New York City, tell him I'm a cop, rip him off for a 1/4 ounce of crack, gets out of the car. I hit the gas, he unloads a 9mm at me from 10 feet away. And I heard a voice say, I took those bullets for you. Are you ready to live for me yet? In the midst of that, the gun blast, that voice came. I drove out of the city. I smoked a 1/4 ounce of crack. That voice killed my buzz all night long. I went home. My girlfriend kicked me out. I left. I went to Teen Challenge. I was in Teen Challenge for 2 months. I enlisted for a year. Girlfriend hated me when I left. Went to Teen Challenge. I'm glad you're out of my life. She actually said the night before, she said, God, if you're real, take him away from me because I hate him. And the next night I got shot at. But I didn't die. But I did. I went to Teen Challenge. The Bible opened up to me. First thing ever. First thing I could understand, James, if you lack wisdom, ask God. I said, oh my God, that's it. I don't have a clue. I promise you. I said, that's it. I'm wisdomless. I don't have a clue. And it was like right there, something hit me. Something clicked. I'm like, that's it. I'm clueless. I don't get it. I don't get any of it. That's it. And I admitted that I lack wisdom. I didn't even read the rest of it. Just that. I admitted I lack wisdom, and that's where you start. Admitting that you lack wisdom. Because if you think you know it all, man, you're in for a big surprise. Every day you'll wake up surprised that you're not even happy about your life. And it just hit me, man. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'm reading. I can't explain it. I don't understand how to talk about it. I'm just like, this is amazing. What is it? I don't know. Because it was baking in the oven, man. It was like cooking inside. The word, the truth. It was the truth. Like, Jesus isn't just some truth. He's the truth. He's not just some way. He's the way. He's not just some life. He's the life. He's the exact image. He's the express image of the Father. He's the visible image of the invisible God. When you see him, you see the Father. When I see the life of Jesus, I see who my Father is. This is amazing. And I'm like, oh. So 3 nights in a row, I have these dreams instead of nightmares. And the 3rd night, I heard a voice say, go home. So I went home 10 months early. I quit everything in my life, man. When I got home, Dan came up and picked me up. He told me all the reasons why I was going to make it the whole way home. I went to the church first. That didn't work out well. Because I was at that church for 5.5 months and I was playing the hypocrite, like hardcore. And they knew I was a liar. And they paid for me to go there. And I registered for 12 months. But I left in 2. So it looked like I didn't follow through. So when I came there, they hammered me. Like hammered me. But I didn't get hurt. It was like I was free, like from being hurt. This is amazing, man. So when I'm talking about not being offended, I go through a lot of stuff. Like that's not just a pop-off statement. I go through a lot of stuff, man. A lot of people that just don't understand. But I can't afford to let what people don't understand to affect or to be the reflection of the reality of what I do understand. Grace is the divine influence of God upon my heart with his reflection upon my life. I can't afford to be the reflection of what people don't understand. Are you with me? Yeah. So they hammered me. So I went home. My girlfriend was in the house. My daughter comes running out. I'm holding her, tell her how sorry I am. She's like, for what, Daddy? I'm glad you're home, and I'm not home. I'm out, but I'm not home. I can't live here. She's like, no, Daddy, this is your home. I said, no, honey, Daddy can't live here. I hurt Mommy. She doesn't understand. She's 7.5 years old. She has no clue. I'm her dad. My girlfriend comes out, tells me that she forgave me, told me that she loves me. And we got married 4 days later, in between first and second service. Like, seriously. Dan did the marriage. She married us. Nobody was in agreement. Her family, everybody was in disagreement with our, I'm talking like really bad. Because I messed everything up. So everybody was against me. But I knew that I was right with God. See, I wasn't right with God because they said it was okay when I was right with God. They were atheists. How could they know? Nobody. I know Christians in my family. They have no idea who God is. He just chose something else. Now he's on something new. We'll see how long this lasts. Well, now most of my families are Christians. Most of them. It's because I'm right with God. And it's because their sin against me will never produce sin within me. It's such a valuable, valuable truth that people sin against you have no ability to produce sin within you if you understand your creative value. Because you don't war against flesh and blood. Your war is not against people in front of you. Your war is against principalities, demonic strongholds, man. This is a big deal. You can't afford to be hurt and offended. And you have to understand who God created you to be. When you look in the mirror, you better see Jesus staring back at you. It's Christ in you, the hope of glory. It's the mystery that's been revealed. It's revealed. The cat's out of the bag. It's not a secret. The only secret that's in the Bible is you in the secret place seeking your Father when no one's looking. So that when you come out, you look like Him. But if you don't seek Him in the secret place, you'll look like you and you'll be sad. You'll look in the mirror and you'll hate what you see. And you'll wonder when your break's going to be. But your break happened 2,000 years ago. Everybody in this room has the same ability to see the same thing that I see. Everybody in here, I don't care what you've done, I don't care where you've been, I don't care how bad your life was. It doesn't even matter to me if it was 5 days ago. It doesn't matter to me if it was an hour ago where you snapped at somebody and you wish you didn't. Get over it. And repent, say you're sorry. Listen, it's really that simple. You don't understand. No, I do understand. The devil wants you to hold on to that thing forever because then all of a sudden it compounds interest and lots of other stuff happen in the same place. It's the devil's playground. See, in my life, I've been forgiven. So people say, well, you've been forgiven much, that's why you love much. No, here's the deal, guys. All of us have been equally forgiven. I don't care if you were demonically drug addicted and a prostitute. It doesn't matter whether you think that you were good and you think that my sin was worse than yours. That's self-righteousness. But if you see the weight of the reality of your sin and where you came out of, you were as forgiven as I was. Because if you broke one law, you broke them all. Regardless of what you came out of, regardless of what you've done. See, forgiveness is amazing. Like if you realize that you've been forgiven much, you can't help but to love much. But if you think that I've been forgiven more than you, then you'll think that I have the right to love more than you. And that's demonic. Because all of us have the right to love the same way. Because we're to love with the love of God. The love of Christ compels us. Because if one died, then all died. And if all died, then those that live should no longer live for themselves, but for the one that died for them and gave himself for them. Come on, man. It's the gospel. It's the gospel. It's the good news. You guys all have the good news. Rest, as God settled it, man. God settled it. He said that He settled it for us. Jesus settled it. It says the handwriting of requirements and all the stuff that we wish we never did was nailed to Him on the tree. And if the powers and principalities would have known what they were doing, they wouldn't have done what they did, but they did. They killed Jesus. They did. If they knew what they were doing, they would have never done it. Because they thought by getting Him dead, they would get Him out of the wreck. But no, He opened up the door for all of us to be like Jesus. Not to take glory to ourselves, because Jesus never took glory to Himself. How are you supposed to be Christians if you're not supposed to be like Jesus Christ? Come on. You guys all right? Or are you like, oh, I love the fact that I get to do videos. I love it. But I love this the most. I'm right with God. No one can take it away from me. That's where my strength is. But the thing is that's where all of your strength needs to lie. Because if your strength lies there, nothing can move you. You can't be shaken. And if God be for you, who could be against you? Who shall bring a charge against God's elect? Greater is He that's in you. All these scriptures are true for you too. We need to know who our Father is. We need to understand that we're sons and daughters of the Father. I was just reading